Chapter 5. Turg. Any activity between the states of Sopio and Selena could have soon be quelled with the use of the surf Bellafina. Anybody witnessing 109,000 tons swimming as if it were a leopard seal would have been impressed, and certainly could see that tackling this formidable creature was futile. But skirmishes along the border were a thing of the past. The barrier ran all the way into space now, and was virtually impenetrable. The actual border wall was only present in Jamesvarg and Fenges, as these were the only places where civilization was split by the border. These were the only two places where Aquinos and Peps ever came close to contact. All other populated areas were well within their respective states, Sopio or Selena. Aquinos and Peps chose to live a separate existence, but due to necessity there were two places where trade and honest citizens could move between the states. The Aquinos were generally friendlier in nature, and if a Pep were close by, will engage him in conversation, however suspiciously wary. Peps, on the other hand, were aggressive towards Aquinos and had a chromosome that ensured they felt far superior to their 60 million year distant cousins. But they didn't actively pursue altercations and preferred just to get vocal about their distastes. And emotionally, one Pep was pretty much the same as another Pep. Aquinos, on the other hand, came with a rich variety of different personalities. 99% of them, though, felt as if every other Aquinos was a son or a daughter, and would gladly die to save that Aquinos life. But much like most intelligent species across the galaxy, they did not always practice what they preached, and family quarrels still occurred. The Sopio United Republic Forces Bellafina's deep blue body slipped through the sparkling waters. The thin jacket of atmosphere she wore at this depth enabled her to cruise at just above the sound barrier. Even at these speeds, nothing along the border missed her attention. From the expansive, colourful coral beds to the tiniest jellyfish, from the largest of the sea mammals to luminescent bacteria. No, routine patrols were not boring. For the surf Bellafina, swimming through Ariston's vast oceans was a pleasure. The small unoccupied service craft that were forever present, hanging to the underside in the shadow created by Bell's 700-odd metre length, would dart away and hide, only to dart back or appear from a hidden crevice and playfully attack Bell. Bell would twist and dive or leap into space to avoid the pesky attackers. Larger occupied attack craft were sent out with their own attack plans to test the Bellafina's defences and attack capabilities. On board, the enlisted Aquinos wanted for nothing. There was a shopping mall, several different restaurants, a large auditorium that showed movies and plays, gymnasiums, anything and everything a small city had. There was even a bar, like the ones in the desert and the strip, for off-duty use. And after 3 weeks of routine patrols, it got a fairly healthy using. It was in this bar that the transaction took place. Only Bell noticed, and she didn't consider it important, amongst the million other calculations she carried out every millisecond in order for her and her crew to function as a unit. Feeding the 9,000 or so crew members alone involved countless sums and elaborations. An unauthorised medic in the bar was nothing to worry about. It had probably sensed some minor infection and wanted it healed. The crewman brushed the pesky pen-sized medic away after it had kissed the back of his neck several times.
"What the heck?"
he exclaimed as he shooed the little creature. It darted away and was never seen again. He stopped and looked at the starboard.
"What sequence am I up to?"
he asked his companions.
931
was the reply, and he smiled as he heard it.
Game over.
He thought confidently. He had a knack for throwing stars, and his companions enjoyed the challenge of trying to better him.
931
he explained as his fourth and last star hit its target.
I win again.
Yay! Cheered his 3 companions.
Another round?
They all nodded.
Last one before duty cycle starts.
More off-duty Aquinos arrived. Octil and his shiftmates had arrived early, but now the bar was beginning to fill. A band started playing, and the dance floor glimmered as couples danced, their flanks shimmered and pulsed in time with the music. Aquinos dancers could provide their own form of lighting effects. Although the bar was open continuously, it only had 3 busy periods, and this was the start of the second for the cycle. The Bellafina had 3 rotating shifts, and they overlapped each other, so two shifts were always working at any one given time. So the Bellathena had to cater for the recreational needs continuously for around 3,000 off-duty crew members. This was not Turg's off time. His rotation was just starting. It was 7 hours past the beginning of the cycle, and he had an hour to carry out the process of getting prepared to start his shift. Theoretically, Turg was one of about 300 ranking officers who did not get an official off cycle. However, he had an hour before he was unofficially expected on the bridge. His officers would be on duty for 8 out of every 12 hours. Often officers would extend the hours, so it was not uncommon to have 3 recognised operators at the shared one station. Every crew had 2 that could replace them. Well, actually 3. In future years, as Bell's experience and knowledge grows, she'll be able to operate independently from a crew. For a short while at least anyway. The Bellathena needed her crew for more than data input. She also received sustenance from them. They were all part of the same chemical cocktail of give and take that beings require to live. Without her crew, Bell would simply not get fed. She absorbed the disused chemicals that her crew expelled. She expelled chemicals that her crew needed to survive. Inside the Surf Bellathena, 3,000 souls sought sustenance. The restaurants were full, and Okeanos were busily consuming 3 tons of produce. A wide range of edible items were devoured, cooked and raw. Fish, squid and crustacean-like creatures were a staple. All these were birthed and grown on board by Bell. Many types of turnip and potato-like roots and tubers grew wild in areas adjacent to all eateries. Various sized and coloured eggs popped at regular intervals from hundreds of sphincter mussels. Teats hung in the galleys from ceilings and walls. Bell's milk was highly sought after at the commencement of cycle, and thick shakes were devoured in hundreds of litres as crew members rushed to their stations. Stews and porridges steamed away. All these delicious delights created by Bell and prepared by the crew. Turg had just finished some fish and eggs. He sipped away at a steaming bulbous mass filled with milk, flavoured with some earthy tasting excretion. It really woke you up and got you moving in the morning. He watched the steady stream of crew swimming to and fro their appointed post, finished his hot milky brew and prepared to leave. Out of the stream of Okeanos heading to duty, a manically grinning Okeanos lunged at Turg with one hand and slashed a double-bladed knife towards Turg's gullet with the other. Turg fended and chopped at the knife-wielding hand, striking a nerve just on the attacker's wrist. The attacker spun and backstabbed at Turg's neck. Turg had managed in this short time frame to whip out a small coil tendon from his harness and managed to slap it around the attacker's knife hand as he ducked under the shining cold blade. The attacker, feeling the pull of Turg's rope-like appliance, countered by flipping his knife and slashing back in the direction the knife had just come. Turg had wanted this and used the attacker's weight and momentum to pull the attacker down and spinning him around on the floor and pin the arm up behind Sub-Lieutenant Akil's back. Turg also accidentally broke Akil's wrist in the motion and stabbed him in the upper leg muscle using Akil's knife. This caused no permanent damage, but rendered the attacker's leg unusable. The sub-lieutenant was screaming in pain, but Turg held him pinned. Security arrived moments after and ushered the Okeanos away.
What's going on?
Turg asked of no one.
Time to answer that request has been reduced to 1,575 days after receipt of information supplied by Griggs Relations. Now that we have Sub-Lieutenant Akil alive and in custody, I'll be able to reduce this time by 15%.
Was the response from Bell. Turg thought he should avoid verbalising his thoughts. He forgot Bell was listening for every word he spoke. Every word that every crew member spoke, in fact. Turg headed for the closest ranking officer's access portal, presented his double eyelids and webbed palm to the sensors. He blinked twice. The access portal irised open.
Bridge.
And he didn't have to stop moving at all as the portal shut behind him and the one ahead disappeared from view instantly, allowing him access to the bridge. As always, the crew were already facing him and saluting. They rang out.
Aye.
He snapped back, his golden glow shining brightly, filling the bridge.
Carry on.
He made his way to the commander's station and sat in a daze. In Bell's Belly was the detention centre. Sub-Lieutenant Octeil sat in a daze in restraints. 3 Arcanus officers had just finished beating him for the 5th or 6th time. No one was counting anymore. It wasn't important. Blue blood oozed from his right gill. His left eye was swollen shut, and the inner fluid bulged and threatened to rush out through a tear. Stars danced in that eye and rang out so loud he found it hard to hear anything else. He was constantly dry and itching, and as he started passing into unconsciousness, he felt a sharp stab in his left gill.
No, you don't.
Screamed an officer as he injected the assassin with drugs that would not let Octeil escape into the unconscious state. Another guard grabbed his broken wrist and he vomited air and blood again. They didn't ask him a thing. They just kept the incredible agony coming, building it to such a crescendo he thought he was going to burst. His guards had broken 5 of his left ribs. 3 of those had pierced his internal organs. They hit him again and again in the same places. Why were they doing this? He had no recollection of his actions that morning when he tried to kill Commander Turg. It was missing from his mind. Both his legs had been broken, and his left ankle shattered by a heavy mallet. He knew nothing but pain. Nothing else registered. This was not important. His interrogators asked him nothing. They started to beat him again, making sure that every last area of his body was damaged and bruised. They didn't say a thing to him. He would not have heard them if they had. His hearing was saturated with ringing as loud as a star going nova. All he saw was bright stars banging away on his optic nerve as now both his eyes had been systematically beaten and tortured. As the guards watched him during a respite, he vomited blood again and moaned something unintelligent to his keepers. He didn't even realise he'd tried to speak. He knew not of such things. Pain, incredible, shattering, agonising. He screamed so loud and mournfully that one of the Arcanus guards shrieked and emitted a dull glow. Tiny bubbles drifted past his face. The 2 other guards looked at him quizzically. He shrugged and smiled embarrassment. The 3 guards turned back to each other and resumed their conversation. Ever so slowly, in a dark corner of the interrogation room, a tiny portal opened, and a smaller than normal medic appeared. It moved so slow and kept to the shadows that its presence went unnoticed by the 3 guards. The Arcanus guard who had shrieked was laughing to himself. He had been handpicked for this type of work. He was predisposed for violence. He was one of a minority within the Arcanus race, but once identified, were put to good use. The prisoner shrieked again, more mournfully than the last. The water filled with a brief yellow flash and a small burst of minute bubbles.
Really?
One of the guards questioned in a disapproving tone.
Are you sure you're suited to this?
He paused. He looked at the guard.
I could get you transferred if you want.
He asked seriously. The guard loved his job for exactly the reason he had just exhibited. This job kept him persistently supplied with the drugs his fight or flight mechanism provided. He was literally high on his life.
Don't you dare.
He shot back.
You'll have to get used to my girl reactions. But trust me, Chief, I love this job.
All right. You make me jump when you have your little episodes, that's all.
Protested his chief teasingly.
You love it.
The guard exuded back.
You bet.
Chief, we got a problem. Look, he's passing out again. Where's that needle? I'll jab him in his eye. That always brings him back.
The guard did exactly as he said, but Octeil did not respond.
Oh shit, get a medic in here.
And 3 appeared out of the walls and started attending to the prisoner. None of them had attended to this Arcanus previously. Something was wrong. The medics, given time, should have been able to restore the limp body to full health. But there was no response, and Octeil remained lifeless.
Oh shit.
This was the first time any of the Arcanus guards had actually killed someone. They all shrieked, and the cell was aglow with yellow and efflorescent with bubbles. It was not a normal thing for an Arcanus to kill an Arcanus. Oh shit.